Two police officers in Alabama have faced massive backlash after posting a homeless quilt on Facebook. So you can see Preston McGraw and Alexandre Olivier, that's two officers with the Mobile Police Department in Alabama, posing with what they called a homeless quilt made up of confiscated signs from homeless individuals. Another post read, "Want to wish everybody in the 4th Precinct a Merry Christmas, especially our captain. Hope you enjoy our homeless quilt. Sincerely, Panhandler Patrol." Disgusting. Wow. Now, again, this got a lot of pushback on social media, so let me give you some examples of that. Goth Miss Krampus says Americans are insanely evil. Well, some people definitely are. Aaron Sinek said, homeless quote made by the Panhandler Patrol. The lack of empathy and care is stunning and disgusting. Mark Tropolis said, this is not a lack of empathy or care. This is state-sanctioned violence, and these are the trophies of their conquests. So, man, they are not mincing words there. Eric Hugh Kendall says, every one of those signs are a sign from somebody in a desperate situation. They have nothing, and it's not a joke. And so let me back that up, right? So in Alabama alone, there's an estimated nearly 3,500 homeless individuals as of 2018. 540 of those, according to the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, are individuals experiencing chronic homelessness. So think about that, right? So you had roughly about 3,000 people who at some point in their lives were homeless, and about a little over 500 who suffer from chronic homelessness. So these are the people that these officers think is okay to make fun of, to mock, and to denigrate on social media publicly. Look, this is gross. Super, super gross. Super unprofessional as well. For your police officer, especially. Look, these people should not be, laughed at or made light of, right? And it's a situation that affects a lot of Americans who are in a very precarious position. So it's absolutely gross. Now, Mobile Police Department Chief Lawrence Batiste responded to this on Monday. He said, as a police department entrusted with serving and protecting our community, we offer our sincerest apology for the insensitive gesture of a Facebook post by two of our officers where they are holding up a homeless quilt made up of panhandling signs. Although we do not condone panhandling and must enforce the city ordinances that limit panhandling, and I'll get to that later, it is never our intent or desire as a police department to make light of those who find themselves in a homeless state. Rather, our position has always been to partner with our community service providers to help those faced with homelessness with hope to improve their quality of life. Well, so remember how I said, keep that in mind, how, their ordinances, right? Now, so they say that, but what are the lawmakers actually doing? Well, they're criminalizing homelessness and using police officers, of course, to clear the streets of homeless. So now their situation is not to help the homeless people, right? No, their orders are to get the homeless people off the streets so it looks better. Not as in help the homeless people get homes so they can be more successful. Okay. And look, what they're doing law-wise is making it so people can't sleep on benches or sidewalks, when in reality, of course, I think we should house the homeless. And I know, like, you might think it's a really crazy idea, but we have more empty homes than we have homeless people in this country. And studies have shown that it's actually cheaper to house homeless people than put them in jail, right? And look, making homelessness criminalizing it, does not solve the underlying issues. Those issues being, of course, financial instability, expensive rent, gentrification, low wages, substance abuse, lack of access to mental health care for the poor, many other issues, right? Many other things that actually contribute to this problem of homelessness. But as far as the response to this, what they actually do in Alabama, Well, they have laws against so-called aggressive panhandling, right? So now they can be charged with requesting donations from someone standing in line outside of any commercial establishment. So you're outside a store and you ask for money. Well, you're an aggressive panhandler, and you can be charged and you can be arrested, and then charged and fined up to $500 or face up to 6 months in jail, which is exactly what we want to do for poor people that have no money, that are begging for money to survive. We're going to charge them $500. That doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like an overdraft fee. Oh, we're going to charge you for being poor. Well, as I said before, poverty charges interest, right? And as far as going to jail, well, that's not a solution either. Again, it costs more to put poor homeless people in jail than it is to actually give them homes. And of course, in jail, well, they're not getting any sort of help at all. And so, look, this is a disgusting situation, right? Now, to kind of wrap up the story of what's going on with these two officers and how the system, of course, is even more disastrous. BuzzFeed News reports that the department has opened an investigation which will determine if any punitive action is necessary. But notes that Macron Olivier remain on duty while the investigation is underway. So they're still out there. They're still doing their thing, right? Now, this gets back to having higher standards for police officers. I mean, I think that they should receive punitive action, because how can you expect these officers to serve the community when it seems like they hate a portion of it? Okay. I mean, the homeless are the most vulnerable and marginalized in society. They need the most help and protection. They are the most at risk. Instead, homeless people get mocked, criminalized, and even assaulted, right? And yet there are people out there that defend those officers, by the way. This is how much as a society we've internalized hating the poor. But consider this. If you're somebody who hates homeless people, there are a lot of homeless veterans in this country. We don't talk about them, do we? But look, there are a lot of people who, physical or mental injuries through, our conflicts overseas that do not get taken care of. And they end up on the streets with, sometimes with invisible illnesses, PTSD, and inability to be able to reintegrate into normal, civil society after being a soldier for so long. These veterans end up on the street. So, and they don't get the help that they need. And so it's terrible that you see laws that criminalize the homeless, and you see laws that don't go to helping the homeless get the help that they need and actually get off the street. Instead, we again seem to take pleasure in causing them even more pain than they already have. So I think these officers are pretty disgusting people. But I think what we really need to pay attention to more and solve more is the system. It's the system that creates this homelessness problem. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.